Hi, I'm Jeanette Larson with Growth Unlimited, and I'm your host for this presentation. Today we're going to be talking about the American dream. You know, this is an interesting subject to me because I've always been kind of a history buff all through my life. And as I look at the current life situation that people in our country are facing, one of the things that I'm noticing is that we seem to have forgotten how to dream. And as I did research for this video, I was able to come up with some information that has been published in blogs and other resources that demonstrate that that is actually the case. For example, on February 2nd, 2011, an essay was published in the Graph op-ed. I believe it's an online publication. It was titled The American Dream of the Founding Fathers, and I was not able to find the author for the essay. But I'm going to read a quote from the essay that I found very interesting. In fact, we'll probably read a couple of different quotes from them. In this essay, the writer states, "We need to be reminded as a nation that the Founding Fathers gave up material wealth and substance for something that was far, far greater to them. In their minds, liberty and all the possible risks associated with liberty was far more desirable than the material things and prosperity, especially if that prosperity came with collectivism or despotism. They felt so strongly about this, in fact, that they were willing to give up their wealth to ensure liberty and freedom for themselves and for future generations. They believed that material gain and public fame are only a fruit of freedom, not its root." The author goes on to say in this essay that sadly the American dream has morphed and distorted over the past several decades to a point that the Founding Fathers wouldn't even recognize it. "We now are focused more on material things and what we want. We are not focused on the good of other people. We are focused on what we want now, and we are willing to engage in activities, whatever those activities may be, whether they are good activities or bad activities, in order to get what we want, just as quickly as we can get it. Our focus is not on the good of the whole, which is what our Founding Fathers based this country on, but rather on what we want personally." And that is one of the major issues that we run into in terms of how our country is going, and it's not working. I don't know a single person alive who is happy with what's going on in our country today. And the saddest thing of all is, in this process, we are losing even what little control of our lives we have been able to obtain over the past 200 to 250 years. We have time to fix this, though. There still is time. All is not lost. But we need to start taking action. We need to get our minds in the direction they need to go, and we need to start doing what needs to be done to make this country what it was meant to be and what it still can be. And that would be to give us, to allow us all to have the kind of freedom that we want to have, to allow us all to have control of our own lives. Now, we're going to talk a little bit. There have been many, many great leaders both in the United States and outside of the United States over the past couple of 2 to 3 centuries that have come up with some interesting ideas. And as I was researching this, I found that many of these ideas are very similar to things that we're hearing today. But there's some insight in some of these ideas that I think is beneficial to those of us now as we're trying to navigate the struggles we're facing in our current lives. These leaders all had one thing in common. They were able to dream, and then they were able to take the action necessary to make their dreams come to life. The first quote that we're going to talk about today is from Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln was quoted as saying, "My dream is of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of earth." Now, we have seen that happen since his time. And we still are in a position where much of the world looks at us with a desire to interact with us and engage with us. There are always people in the world who are engaged in the process of trying to subvert what we have. But ultimately, we are still a country where people of the world dream of coming to this country, to live in this country, to enjoy the benefits that we have here. Our current president, Donald Trump, has said, "No dream is too big, no challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach." Clear back before the Revolution, Thomas Jefferson stated to John Adams, "Bigotry is the disease of ignorance, of morbid minds, enthusiasm of the free and buoyant. Education and free discussion are antidotes of both. We are destined to be a barrier against the returns of ignorance and barbarism." And here again, that did prove to be true. But there are those of us in this country now that think that we maybe are moving back towards that ignorance and barbarism with the things that we are choosing to do at this point. So we need to decide, are we going to listen to a founding father, a man who is recognized as being one of the greatest minds of our country? Or are we going to continue on the pathway we currently are on and lose the things that were put together by those founding fathers? Okay, John F. Kennedy said, "The problems of the world cannot possibly be solved by skeptics and cynics whose horizons are limited by the obvious realities. We need men who can dream of things that never were and ask why not." Dreams and achieving them propel us forward. When you think about what was going on even 30 years ago, and the way the world was at that point in time, and then compare that to what we have now with the advent of the technology that we all enjoy, we have seen progress. And that progress was instituted by those people who can dream of things that never were and ask why not, and then move ahead to realize making them happen. We're at the cusp of being able to do those kinds of things again. The world has the potential to move on and become better and greater than it ever has been. But we have to be careful. We have to be cautious. We have to keep things in place the way they need to be. Some of our leaders were very, very focused on the values that they found important, and their dreams were aligned with those values. Theodore Roosevelt said, "This country will not be a good place for any of us to live unless we make it a good place for all of us to live in." And that is never true, and never any more true than it is now. We have different groups of people who are loudly and viciously and violently demanding that certain things be done their way. They want the world to be a good place for all of us to live in. The question is, are the methods that they're using effective in making that happen? Let's see what some of our other leaders have said about using violence to institute change. Okay, Nelson Mandela, who was known for the advocacy that he did for the black people in South Africa, talked about violence this way. He said, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." So is engaging in violence teaching people to love? And question number 2, is that violence really working? Is it getting the results that they want? Okay, now Nelson Mandela also said there is no passion to be found in playing small, and settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. But the means that we use to attain the life that we're capable of living are something that have to be addressed as well. If we use means that seem to be a little bit easier or gain a little bit more attention because they are negative and damaging to other people, are we truly meeting the message that Nelson Mandela had in this quote? Or are we using small behaviors and small activities to try to get the response that we're looking for? The history of the world shows us that use of violence is never a way to gain lasting change. I believe it was Albert Einstein who stated that the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over, expecting different results. If violence hasn't worked in the past, what makes us think that it might work this time? Okay, Theodore Roosevelt also said, "The dreams of golden glory in the future will not come true unless high of heart and strong of hand, by our own mighty deeds, we make them come true." So using violence to elicit change is not only ineffective, well, it is ineffective, and it's not going to achieve the result that the people that are involved in it are saying that they want to have achieved. Barack Obama stated, "The future rewards those who press on. I don't have time to feel for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on." So pressing on without complaining, without demanding what you want for yourself, is going to be more effective in eliciting the kind of change you're looking for. We hear a lot about Martin Luther King. Dr. King was a great leader, and we have much to learn from him. The most famous speech that he ever gave was the "I Have a Dream" speech. This next quote comes directly from that speech. He said, "But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force." I wonder what Dr. King would think. Mahatma Gandhi was a leader of the people in India. Through the use of peaceful resistance, he was able to gain liberties and the vote for the Indian people who were under British rule. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Carefully watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Manage and watch your words, for they will become your actions. Consider and judge your actions, for they become your habits. Acknowledge and watch your habits, for they shall become your values. Understand and embrace your values, for they shall become your destiny." If you honestly want to elicit change in your life, if you want to take control, you need to do it using your values. You need to do it not hurting other people. None of this happens quickly. There are too many people, too many ways, who are working for different things. But one of the blessings that we have in our society is that our country was planned to allow the freedom of everyone to have a say. The process works. And if we are actively involved and engaged in working for the changes that we see need to be done, we have the power to make that happen. We simply must use appropriate methods in order to get what it is we're looking for. My challenge to each of us is to take control of our lives. Start engaging in the process to make things happen. Stop waiting for other people to do it for us, or buying into what looks like the easiest way to go. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. And let's finish with another quote from John F. Kennedy. This is one of my favorite quotes. John Kennedy said shortly after he was elected President of the United States. In fact, I believe this is from his inaugural address. He stated, "Ask not what your country can do for you. what you can do for your country. My challenge to each one of us is to do just that. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and share it with your friends. If you're looking for ways to learn how to take control of your life effectively, visit our website at www.growthunlimited.org. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day. Bye now. Growth Unlimited's mission is to help you have your life your way. We want to help you take control of your life so that you live the life you've dreamed of, that you deserve. We have a proprietary program that helps you do just that. Check us out by visiting our website and take our free assessment to see how we can help you.